I, King Guifré III, am beginning to feel my age. The constant warring to the north, fighting for my son-in-law, has worn me down faster than I had imagined. Their climate is distasteful compared to Iberia, and it did more harm than good to this body of mine. Even now, war rages, and I cannot fight it any longer. In the background, I've been quietly but steadily drafting claims on the Mediterranean. If I can push those claims myself, that would be ideal, but if I can't, they are there for my son to easily take advantage of. I am thankful succession will not be bloody, and that my heir will only need to expand his realm, rather than worry about siblings tearing it apart. I sense an end to the Iberian struggle is close. Can it be accomplished before I die? Can I bring peace to Iberia and pass on a new world to my son? A father can only hope. Hello everybody, this is Havoc and welcome back to our Crusader Kings 3 playthrough roleplay with King Guifré of Aragon. I apologize for missing the last few typical times. Life has been busy and I am just thankful to finally get back in to the game. First and foremost, if you want to support this channel in any way, you can do so by giving the video a thumbs up, subscribing to the channel, turning on those bell notifications, and of course, leaving those comments. Again, they are amazing, and your guys' support is unbelievably awesome. And of course, if you would like to financially support this channel, go above and beyond, you can certainly do so through YouTube channel memberships and or Patreon. Once we start a new series, we will of course start integrating new members, etc., etc. It's a fantastic way if you want to get involved, but it is also never ever required. Guys, I feel like we are close. Whether we are or not, I have no idea, but there's just an inkling inside of me. If we end the Iberian struggle, I will probably only play further until we do the Mediterranean. That's kind of the new goal. And at that point, once we secure the Mediterranean, we can move along to a new series. Let me know what you think about that in the comment section down below. But yeah, it's time to put the roleplay face on. Let's continue as King Guifré of Aragon. It is unfortunate that I have to allow the King of Brittany to learn a harsh lesson about his realm. I can honestly say that I've never been quite as under attack as he has. But those renowned Northmen, a little bit of a pain in his side, and maybe having a smaller kingdom, just might let him learn a lesson. I'm thankful things have not been quite so volatile here, and that any aggression has, if anything, been spurned by myself. The Danish conquest for the county of Hamburg is continuing, although it's not going well. And as I mentioned, I hold approximately 80 to 90% of the total number of troops. King Eben will simply have to lose the county of Hamburg and be okay with it. Pope Sergius III, we will start swaying him. The odds of that happening are very, very slim, but hopefully that will help as well. We will continue to use the church and their abundant coffers to fuel our empire and perhaps even go to war and wage war elsewhere. Securing the Mediterranean won't be nearly as simple as I had hoped, although I do have claims on the county of Judicato of Bastia and the Judicato of Vecchio. We will have to start working on the High Chiefdom of Calabria, and of course work on the few realms of Messina and Syracusa that are currently owned by the Byzantine Empire. The Byzantine Empire, without a doubt, is a very, very strong empire. Were we to go to war, though, we are on even ground, using our Muslim allies as much as possible. One of my goals after searching through the annals of the Suebi culture is adding traditions would be one of the best ways to do so. And there are indeed so many. However, I have a new goal. Malleable subjects. Vassals of this culture do not consider different faiths or cultures when joining factions. Vassals of this culture will often learn the language of their liege. It is harder indeed to promote the culture in counties of this culture, unless you share heritage. However, it is easier to promote cultures if you share a heritage. And you're more likely to attract wandering knight characters. This is something that I feel would be really appropriate for our culture considering the region that we are in. On top of that, any characters have a huge reduction in mercenary hire costs. No different different cultural opinion is higher, and no negative of other cultures. That's the biggest one. But also vassal levy contributions go up by a huge amount. Malleable subjects isn't a negative regarding the malleable part, but if there are things that I can do as a king to pass on to my family down the lines that would allow vassals to more easily be swayed, more people of this culture to easily be swayed, then I think that would be a positive. And hopefully that would allow us to integrate even more appropriately into the Suebi culture. But for now, I do think we're going to sit back and relax. We do have a court matter to attend to. Pool of Blood is congealing under the feet of Joan, a diplomat sent by my ally and brother, Duke Christopher of Aragon. By the immense quantity soaked up in my fine carpet, can only assume he's been bleeding on the spot for hours, if not longer. My apologies for this mess. I was defenestrated by a dwarf trying to rob me in my inn on the journey to Barcelona. However, as the rapscallion cushioned my fall, the diplomat visit can continue. It will still be days until my blood loss is fatal. My word. Duke Christopher, brother, I know you've got wares, you've got coffer, you've got gold. I know you're not going to like this, but your man's bleeding on my carpet. I'll see him right now so we can get this matter resolved, but you're going to pay for a new one. Hopefully that matter was of great importance. And we also have a couple of inspirations. Frakan Guifré is the weapon inspiration. He wants to forge a hammer, and he is very competent at his craft. We will indeed sponsor it for a mere 50 gold and hope that that will help things. Our court grandeur is, of course, only steadily increasing. Actually, it goes back and forth. We are currently ranked 5th in the world. Pope Sergius even has a better court than we do. I think it's fair to say we can sponsor some grand lodgings, which means guests are likely to stay longer. Their acceptance to join schemes as an agent increases. That's very helpful. And completed inspiration quality has a good chance of improvement, along with the reduction in stress gain. It is a drastic increase, but I think it will help us maintain that grandeur level while also seeking new ways to find new avenues of increasing it. And indeed, we need to hold court. As is usual for a king, gesture for the first one to approach a provincial merchant. Steps forward clearly out of his element. Come on, man, we don't have all day. Yes, my lord, I am Notarius, representing the disgruntled traders and freemen of Tafalla, Navarra's greatest city. Carlos, our mayor, fails to maintain even the most rudimentary records. We humbly ask he be replaced by someone else. We will intrigue the stewardship role. We'll see what Carlos has to say, and in which case, if Carlos's incompetence is found, the mayor will pay for his incompetence literally in gold. But if his wrongdoing is not proved, then unfortunately, development will decrease by 50 in Navarra. Stifled commerce will indeed cause some issues. We have indeed found evidence of his incompetence, which increases my coffers, allows me to then fund new ventures into Navarra and my other regions. Not too shabby. My courtier, Leoflid, approaches me with a spring in her step. My liege, Leoflid says, full of excitement, I have a great idea that can bring you either money or fame. You have amassed quite the collection of artifacts. Why not put them on display? You could charge for viewing your collection or for free so that more people will view it. People do have a tendency to want things they see, so the downside might be that people will try and claim your artifacts. It is absolutely not worth inviting, not one single bit. And then lastly, over the last few days, I've heard tell of a mighty hero of the peasantry, who's won the hearts and minds of the most common people through incredible deeds and matchless bravery. This hero, who goes by the name Odemundus, has been defending the small folk from the Sardinian raiders that have now traveled their way to Barcelona and seeks an audience with me. There's no doubt that Odemundus is a great hero. However, my court are adamant that I do not elevate a commoner beyond their station. I'm often want to reward those who show themselves worthy of serving me, of serving the realm. It's how and why that I chose Duke Christopher to become a duke. It's why I've honored vassals, why my family has honored people in the past. So a true hero surely deserves a position worthy of their skills. Am I not correct? We will grant Odemundus a county currently held by Court Mateo. He'll anger him, but solidifying his loyalty as a vassal. I get a strong hook. He gets the county of Galura, but he becomes my vassal, and therefore my knight as well. Soon the ceremonial formality of the proceedings has dropped away with the hum and bustle of normal courtly life taking its toll. There we go, Count Odemundus of Galura. It's time to peer through our list of troops, and we can see I'm going to forbid Guifré from going in there. We need more knights. Now we can do this traditionally by seeing if there are any courtiers, but I also think we are finally going to have to enlist through inviting some knights. Costs a very little bit. I have plenty of gold, and I think that would allow us to fill our rosters with very, very strong men. A very good court session. I approve. Our first knight has arrived, and is this man absolutely massive. Berenguer Renard. He is a Shari, but he is also a Catalan. Skilled tactician, a wise man, a novice hunter, a holy warrior, a forder, and of course, a giant. I will gladly recruit him with a prowess of 17. He's not our most impressive lad. We have been fortunate to marry our older courtiers into some rather fantastic knightly positions. As you can see here, Nuruddin, Norbert, Clotaire, Menigold, Bodon, Herbert. These are all men who've been fortunate enough to join, and we have a massive, massive retinue of knights at our hands, but I am more than willing to take on as many as possible, and that includes these knights sitting at my table now. It's time to see what else is going to be thrown at me. More than happy to. My beneficiary Fracken approaches me with a thoughtful expression. Is there anyone special to you? We have had multiple artifacts. You know what? Only the Lord guides me. I could use some piety. And being able to have a blessed artifact at my hand during war, I think would indeed be a good thing. By God, leave me alone. The peaceful atmosphere is shattered by Fracken yelling as he storms into the courtyard. Bernard Gwillem quickly follows, but stops when he sees me. My liege, please talk some sense into Fracken. I'm trying to help him since I have some experience that may improve his work. I think in this case, while Bernard is indeed a solid person, I think leaving Fracken clearly, who wants to be left alone, convince him to leave him alone. So I'm going to order Bernard to leave Fracken alone, while it will potentially form a rivalry, which isn't necessarily the best, considering he is one of my knights. I think it is the best option. Our next knight, unfortunately, I think we're going to have to take a pass on. Francois and Citizen of Chateau Thierry. Chateau Thierry sounds very familiar. He is not exactly the most prestigious of men. And in his old age, he honestly wouldn't last very long. Considering it would cost 40 gold to recruit him, I don't think a prowess of 10 is worthwhile despite his tactics. Is this the best that my invitation can conjure, or have we found the best through courtiers already? I'm not too hopeful. However, all of this is thrown to the wind My daughter-in-law Isabeau has given birth to a son. Yes, that is right. Infante Guifré of Aragon now has an heir. My grandson will pass on to the throne as soon as Guifré does. He's part of the Barcelona dynasty, should be blessed with a good name. Will we have a Guifré the Fifth? May you grow strong and wise, my grandson. There is so much comfort and peace in the idea of someone passing into my dynasty, that my realm will have 2 generations of men ready and lined up for it. And apparently there is no one else. Despite a third typically showing up, no other knights have shown themselves. It appears I have the best of the best. I can't help but be okay with that. It's time to move on. No sooner have I given up on the idea of finding a knight than the Danish conquest for the county of Hamburg has ended. I won't say we lost, because I did not contribute one single bit. So be it. Hopefully there is more peace in the north of Brittany now. Really hope so, because I cannot continue to contribute being so far away. Learn. King of Brittany, learn. Now my weaponsmith Fracken updates me on his progress, droning on about the limits of hammer and bellows as my teeth and mind reels with bold ideas for my hammer. Forging may not be my personal forte, but that doesn't mean I can't have a say in how my money is spent. Considering my marshal, I'm going to give a few suggestions. There's a high chance that my ideas will work well. There's no chance that my quality will decrease. However, it might be just a little bit ignored. It works well and will be of a higher quality. I'm thankful, very thankful for that. Despite not participating in the war to the north, I'm not quite satisfied. I have an itch. That itch is war. However, the Mediterranean climate is much more respectable to my body. Judice Cabriella of Bastia suffers from lover's pox. Gonna say he's been doing some things he probably shouldn't be delving into, especially as a Catholic. I can push my claim for a very small, meager amount. It's something he couldn't really fight against. And Judessa Bina of Vecchio, who I also have a claim on, would help, but I don't know that it would help, if you catch my meaning. I'm itching for a war, and I think we need a short one. Let's get to it. Right before I leave port in Barcelona, Fracken runs to me, almost missing me before we leave ship. My lord! He approaches me with a wide grin, sweat dripping down his forehead from running, and smut smeared across his face. I've toiled over the forge many days and nights, but my work is done. He presents me with an object wrapped in cloth, and as I unveil what is hidden, my eyes grow wide. A warhammer of excellent craftsmanship. The wrought iron head is mounted on an elegant oak shaft. It's been inlaid with mother of pearl. King Guifré's warhammer gives me 5 prowess and advantage in hills. This is absolutely lovely. I'm very thankful for it. And now finally, I have a hammer. I have a weapon of my own choosing, King Guifré's warhammer. I love it. I absolutely do, and it boosts my prowess even further. 27 is not too bad. I lead my retinue of knights, 16 of them. Look at these mad lads. I am happy to have them at my side, and I know they will fight gloriously in this war to come. And as we land, a very simple and easy battle ensues. The Battle of Bastia is over with before it even begins. And our siege is what comes next. And unfortunately, my nephew, Rodolphe de Barcelona, has been slain during the Battle of Berjana, also known as Bastia. And it does look like they're going to come back for another fight. These Sardinians, man, you have to give them credit where credit is due. And just like that, However, could I ransom him for any number of gold? It would not be worth it. 7 months, most of that's been traveling. And our war has been easily fought. Bastia will of course need help. It'll take 3 years for Duke Christopher to sway the population, but hopefully that will be worthwhile, and my investments there will have to wait a smidgen. However, I could grant it to a local Sardinian noble, perhaps even the very man that I took it from. And we do in fact have several men at my disposal to do so, and I think Nigola is going to be best. I don't want to give too much land to Countess Vittoria. Nigola is lowborn, he is unlanded, and he sports a decent amount of stewardship. And granting that will indeed increase control a smidgen, which will therefore, you know what, Duke Christopher, you don't have to worry about that. You could train up commanders, indeed, and manage royal guards would be great, but I'm going to continue to have you train commanders. It was a short war, a quick war, and you know what? We're going to do the same thing here. I think this will be a quick war as well, and we can continue to consolidate Sardinia, push different titles, and enable the realm. Getting a little warmongerish, but that's okay. The battle, very easily won. Very easily won. We are immediately laying siege, and it shouldn't be too long until that siege is over with. The Sardinians, they just can't hold sway compared to the King of Aragon. 8 months, most of that spent completely under siege. Demands are enforced. Troops are disbanded. And once again, we will find a Sardinian worthy of the cause. It looks like Adriano of Montelion. Very well suited. There you go. Control is still not fantastic, but it will increase over time. Now we just have to work on the Duchy of Corsica, led by Duke Nicholas of Corsica, although he is not doing too well himself. And then again, as I mentioned, the High Chief Apollonius of Calabria will be next on my list. Wars are short and sweet in this area. However, it has drained my coffers a decent bit, so we will hang around. I'll let the realm settle down, and we'll see what the realm has in store for me. I received a letter from a messenger from Sheikh Salah ibn Salah of Khalat Ayub about a month ago. He seeks to form a closer friendship with me, of which I'm not opposed to in my age, but he's also invited me to a feast, so a month later, here we are. Every guest is gathered in the great hall, and our gracious host Sheikh Salah, who doesn't appear to be in the best of health. He is ill, one-legged, and wounded, but nonetheless, it's better be worth my time. What started as an ordinary feast became an exceptional one thanks to the presence of Wali Anaba. We spoke all evening about all manner of subjects. As things would have seemed, we have a lot in common. Very cool. I had such a good time with him. As one plate of food is replaced by the next, my son-in-law, Sheikh Salah, goes on and on about our ancient military campaigns, and that's how we salvaged that mess. Sure I'm not boring you? Oh no, please go on. And during the feast, I let it be known that the county of Ajaccio has been pressed by myself, losing a little bit of funds, but nothing too terrible. And the feast from my son-in-law, Sheikh Salah ibn Salah of Khalat Ayub. Time to wash off the traces of merriment and wine, once more resume my duties as king. My son-in-law has called upon me to join him against a peasant uprising. Just as I was getting ready to go to war with the King of Lyon, I'll accept it. You know what? I think we could even just raise all of our men-at-arms. It does appear that he is quite weak. We will go and help our brother, or son-in-law rather. Oh, maybe he doesn't need it. Maybe he does not need it. Look at that. He did not even need me one single bit. All right, push it, son-in-law. There we go. You didn't even need me. However, we are trying to steadily dissolve the Kingdom of Leon. He has significantly more gold. I honestly don't know where he got all of this gold from. However, I think we can easily win this war. I'm a bit warmongery today in my old age. I'm excited to see where this goes and how we can potentially wreck the King of Leon and maybe somehow get some ransoms and drain his coffers a bit along the way. In a move I don't quite understand, it appears the First Army of Leon will fight alone against Pamplona. The Almogavars of Murcia don't appear willing and able to jump into this. And while Duke Christopher of Aragon is certainly, without a doubt, one of the better ones to join in, I have to lead this one myself. And of course they've scurried away. The cowards. Let's go to Pamplona and see what happens and then move on to try and capture them. We're going to try and take the barony of Irun, but also I will call upon my allies. Maybe I won't. I don't think they'll do any good whatsoever. Mercenaries are still a mite more expensive than I would like to have them. It looks like we are on our own. And they've chosen to turn around and come and attack me anyways. We are a little bit outnumbered, but it won't be enough. Unfortunately, Duke Rodolphratus II was slain. There's way more wounded on our side than on theirs, and I don't like that. However, that battle was won, and now we can continue the siege, which is going unbelievably fast. The siege has been won. It's time to push our offensive to try and nab some potential knights that would allow us to ransom in the future. And in fact, I am more than willing to try and ransom immediately, even if that brings down my war score, simply because I want to do my best to drain his coffers as much as physically possible so he can't fight in the future. The ransom was accepted. Now it's time to head and try and capture the First Army of Leon while it is not being supported. Or rather, the Almogavars of Murcia, which I assume are the mercenary troop. And once again, they will be caught. My armies are too significantly powerful, and we have caught Gonzalo, who apparently cannot be ransomed quite just yet. And now we will take on the band of the Brigand Emperor. It does seem like King of Leon, King Savarico, is wasting away all of his gold. I am not adverse to that strategy. And indeed, they will try and come at me. They do continually have more and more troops at their disposal. Oh no, I was wounded while leading my troops in glorious battle. Although it appears that I was already healed, which is absolutely fantastic. It has also enabled me to increase my martial, in which case I will choose strategist. Enemy fatal casualties increased by 25%, and crossing rivers and straits no longer receives a penalty from myself. This war is going swimmingly well. Duke Alfonso II, we will ransom him. I honestly think we are doing well enough that we don't have to worry about it, but I think we will go into our territory after the siege to recoup and resupply our forces. And with that final siege, the third Aragonese clash against the Kingdom of Leon will be ended. I decided with the number of troops we had at our disposal, it wasn't worth it. Duchess Elia of Mallorca, we'll go ahead and ransom you, that's fine. But now we need to turn to our allies. My son-in-law is embroiled in a war for the Iberian reclamation of Navarra against Vali Reza Yalmizada of Toledo. And we need to go and support him as best that we can. Again, needing to recoup as much as possible and hope that the enemy is not so much that we can't take them on. As the renown of my dynasty grows, familiarity with the glorious de Barcelona sigil spreads too. My family's device is now recognized in the regional circles of nobility, counted highly amongst the prominent Suebi bloodlines. Very nice. It now becomes a masterwork, giving us more prestige and renown than before. We're going to move against the first army of Madinat al-Maluk, which again faces almost no resistance whatsoever. And indeed, I've gained another glory level of fame, and we will lay siege to the sea, to Dila, and try and force their hand as best as possible. My prisoner, Walia Jonas, has escaped. That's very, very unfortunate. We had just captured him, although it does look like a very valuable hostage. Vali Reza Yalmizada of Tudila himself threw his small retinue at me, which was not a smart idea. This could end the war if my son-in-law will push it as quickly as possible. There we go. We can disband, and life is a bit easier. We simply need to allow Christoph. It'll take 3 years to cool down Erun, but we have pushed back the Kingdom of Leon. It seems Aquitaine has also cut off all things north of the mountains. He is slowly but surely being whittled down little bit by little bit. And in fact, I think we'll send him a poem. A work detailing their incompetence. Regardless, even if it's mocked or lauded, I still think it's something I need to do to kind of poke him in the side, as it were. And it is lauded. Perfect. He lost 50 opinion of me, which is fine. I don't care for the man at all. And he gained 50 or 60 stress, which was absolutely critical. He has scars over scars, which gives him a moderate health penalty. And what an interesting choice for a son. We'll see if that does anything to break up the Kingdom of Leon. Maybe he will die soon, and my work will be cut out for me. Ladies and gentlemen, that will be the end of this portion of King Guifré of Aragon's life. We have many things to attend to, as always. We are still continuing to push Palermo to try and get Calabria under our wing. We have the ability, as I mentioned, or I actually didn't mention this, to get the Kingdom of Sardinia under our wing, which would allow us a little bit ease in the vassals over here, which is something I might consider as well, given your thoughts on the subject. By doing this, we will allow our subjects to be de jure, or de jure, however you want to say it, of our personal liege, and therefore allow them to be a little less of an issue, I guess you could say. But also we have to remember that my son will inherit all of this, so succession is not a problem. We have to remember that, and has to factor into everything that we do. So even if I were to die, this would not split, nothing would split. And he does have a son, and actually he's given birth to another one. I didn't know this. I was not given notice. That's okay. That means succession will be a little bit less, or a little bit more of an issue that we will have to consider, which I will address in the next episode. But guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you know how to support the channel. Giving the video a like, subscribing to the channel, and of course, leaving your comments. It's kind of weird thinking that we're near the end of this, but at the same time, it'll be really cool to move on to a different series. Guys, I'll see you in the next episode.
Iberia, ravaged by the bloody tides of war. Kings and sultans, dukes and emirs. Adversity makes for strange bedfellows, my friend. And you must treat carefully if you are to decide the fate of Iberia.